what's up everybody? So, what you guys are hearing right now is a beat that I made for my album Afro Kid. So, Afro Kid is going to be the return of me rapping and singing, and like I'm making beats where I can just make like typical normal songs too, right? Where it's like, you know, where a song will have 2 or 3 verses, or 2 verses and a bridge and choruses in between, and like kind of structured normally. And like, I'm damn good at rapping, right? And I'm damn good at doing what I do, right? Because I've been doing it for so long, like my whole entire life. So like, I'm really excited to get back into rapping and like writing lyrics again, and like, you know, because I love to rap a lot. Like, because I was rapping on other people's beats way before I made my own beats, and for like hundreds of beats, I've never been able to make a beat that I can actually rap on, because I didn't realize that I was building my own style to like to have like the music be itself, right, without me rapping on it. Or, you know, some songs might have a chorus in it or singing in it or whatever, but for the majority of the songs, they're all just like instrumental style, you know, songs. But I'm excited to get Afro Kid done, because Afro Kid is also one of the first projects I'm gonna drop where it's gonna have an NFT collection with it, and how it's gonna really open people's minds up to what NFTs actually are. Cause like, man, there's so much misunderstandings about NFTs that there's just, it's like you can't explain it, because if anyone, like, it's like if they get it, they get it. If they don't, they don't. And if they don't, it's extremely hard to get people to truly understand what they are. Because people think about the Bored Ape Yacht Club or like things, CryptoPunks or things like that when they talk about NFTs, but they don't realize that it's so much deeper than that. Because like, as an artist, right, because I'm a musician that's now dropping albums, and like, you can now like download my album on, I'm pretty sure, Apple Music, iTunes, you can go to Spotify. I'm getting ready to release Psychedelics and Computers, the remastered version, and every song on there is now exactly how I imagined it. All of the sounds are a lot more smoother and warmer, as warm as I can get them, because I've kind of remastered them, and I've accepted that I'm not going to be able to get them perfect like I want, but they're much better than they were. So I released that out, and then I will just worry about the next project, which is The Lonely Psychonaut. The Lonely Psychonaut is an album. I just released a video where I was showed a little clip of how I like basically made a little bit of one of my songs from the album The Lonely Psychonaut, and that's another album that's gonna be just like instrumental style. And you know what's funny about all this, right? What's so fucking hilarious about this is I live my life as if I'm like some famous musician, even though I know I'm not. I live my life as if I'm like some famous artist, because like, I'm dropping albums, and like, there's so many people that when they, in the world today, because we can all become independent artists that don't need a record label, but they recommend dropping songs, like drop 1 song a week type shit, or 1 song every 2 weeks type shit. But I'm more like, I don't think that way. I don't think in terms of songs. I think in terms of whole projects or whole ideas, right? Or like, you're not just going to think in terms of, if you're trying to make a chapter book, you're not just going to think in terms of 1 chapter. You're going to have multiple chapters that will then create the book. And that's the way when I make music, it's kind of how it just happens. Like, it just happens. Like, I don't really have control over my creativity in that way, as in I go wherever the fuck my creativity takes me, right? So like, when I was making Psychedelics and Computers, I had no idea that I was making an album until there was like 8 songs done to the album where I was like, these 8 songs sound like they could go together, like on a project. And that's what started it. That thought, to think, listen to the 8 songs and be like, oh wow, these all sound like they're supposed to be on the same album or something. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll start working on an album. And that's what started that. That was in 2019. the end of 2019. And so, like, I guess this is just how I live my life. Like, I don't know how to explain it, because I changed. This shit just recently happened when I went through the breakup I went through 11 months ago, right? It'll be 1 year next month. And 1 year I've been single. And in this 1 year, I completely reconstructed my way of living, my way of thinking, my, the way I structure my day, the way, the things I do with my day, right? Because I didn't know how to DJ a year ago, but now I do. I now can make, like, the beat I played, is actually a mixture between two of my songs, like a looped version of two of my songs, with, well, three of my songs, technically, because the boom clap is from another song, and then it's all me DJing it with my, little turntable thing here, my little thing right here, and, like, and I'm able to make beats with my own beats, so then I, like, just made this loop of, for whatever, so I can start, like, making songs that I can rap on, because it's easier for me to rap on the type of beats that I can make with that, and, like, how I can make new beats with my beats, but they're more rappable, and there's less, like, things going on, and, like, it's almost like I can kind of control more of what's going on and have less things, so then I have more room for me to rap on. But this is how I decided to live my life, because it could have been a coping mechanism, right? I'm completely open to say that because I'm an artist and I went through the breakup, and I was self-harming before I went through the breakup, so I had to make I had to make a serious decision on how I'm going to live my life and how I'm going to handle the breakup. So, like, I had to, like, I didn't even really have time to shatter, really, before I had to tell myself how I needed to handle it. And how that the times I was going to shatter, I would only shatter while I was on the psychedelics. I would take the psychedelics and continue to take them to continue to help myself grow and to look at myself and figure out what the problem was. Why did she leave? Why, and whatever. And you kind of, eventually I figured out, I played a big part in why she left, obviously, right? Like, like, if you don't think you played a part in why your partner left, then that's probably another reason why your partner left. But, like, I definitely can see what the problem was. Because even back then, like, it wasn't, she didn't mind me making the music or whatever. There's some shit that, like, I'll talk about in another video. But, like, now that she's not here, though, there's nobody here. And it's like I just kind of get to focus on me and what I wanted to do. Since I was 11 years old, I've always just wanted to make music. I had a whole studio when I was a teenager, and I would record people's music. I was a sound engineer, and I was a self-taught sound engineer because I built my own studio in my own basement where I'd have people in the studio, and I would record their music, and I learned how to mix and master, like, vocals, and I learned how to EQ vocals. I learned how to add effects, and that's where I learned what these effects really are. And that was like in 2012, 2011, 2012. And that's when I learned about what the effects are before I ever opened up Fruity Loops, because I was using other recording programs that were meant to record, like, vocals and, like, songs, to whatever. But then when I got Fruity Loops and I started making beats, I already knew what some of those effects were and what they did and what the point of them were and, like, whatever. So, like, it was like this smooth transition to just getting to know that program. Now, I started working with FL Studios. Really, like, I had it on and off when I was a kid, when I was young. But, like, in 2012, I was probably, like, 17. And that's when I really started working with FL Studios and started doing this thing. But back then, I had this issue where this is before psychedelics, this is before whatever, so, like, I had an issue where I couldn't make a beat that I could rap on. That it was almost like the beginning stages of the sound that I have now, but, like, it was the sound I had before the sound I have now. But it was, I could never make a beat to rap on, so I would always just continuously rap on other people's beats. And, now, it's like, now that I'm able to make beats I can rap on, that's why I took on another project, and I took on AfroKid. And, like, it's the way I live my life is fucking nuts, I know, but I plan on living this way for the rest of my life, right? Like, I plan on, because it's not just the music. Once I can relaunch my online business, once I can get into all these things, but, like, there's so much things that people don't understand, because, like, the future of artists are going to be attached to NFTs, or, like, you know, NFTs are like baseball cards, or like the beanbag fucking things you used to collect, those TY things you could collect. Now the TY things are worthless now, right? But with the NFT collections that artists drop, that musicians drop with their projects, they will mean something as the musician gets older, if that musician gets big. And I'm not saying, like, there's no guarantee that I'm going to become some giant musician. That's my goal. You know, I'd love to get big at DJing and starting to perform my songs and, you know, starting to do this thing or whatever, but there's no 100% guarantee. But it is 100% guaranteed that that musicians will be dropping NFT collections with their projects, and those NFT collections themselves will be worth a lot of money after the artist blows up. And, like, because it's so much deeper than that. It's like you can prove that you, like, were a fan of that artist before he blew up. Like, do you understand how many people, because I was a fan of Wiz Khalifa way before he got famous. Like, I was a huge, like, so, but a lot of people around in my area were a fan of Wiz Khalifa before he got big. But there's no way we can prove that. But if Wiz Khalifa dropped a fucking NFT collection back then I would be able to prove to you, because I'd be like, yo, I still have one of his NFTs his first NFTs that he had back then. And I'd be able to prove, like, yeah, see, I was a fan back then, before then. And then you could see that NFT would probably be worth more than the other NFTs that the artist dropped. And, like, there's something that's happening with that, because artists are not making money anymore, as much money anymore, because we're not selling physical music. Because what's happening to currency and money and this whole thing with Web3 and NFTs and the whole fucking thing is the same thing that happened with music in general. That was music ever really physical, right? Or did we just have the illusion of it being physical? Because, you know, music was first on records, right? But then you go from records to cassettes to CDs, from CDs to waves and MP3s. Like, now you can, like, I make my album, right? You can download the album on Apple, on, you know, iTunes, you can listen to it on Spotify, but you don't have necessarily a physical copy of it. I can order CDs of my album and start, like, selling the CDs, but there's a lot of cars nowadays that are made that don't even have CD players in them. So, like, the future of the thing that's happening with the music industry is definitely NFTs, and how you're able to have a collectible thing. And it's funny because it's not physical, but it can be physical. Like, you can have a physical representation of your NFT because there are no rules to it. You make the rules of your NFT, or the the utility of your NFT, because that's what they call it. It's the utility, that NFTs can have utility. They can mean something. They can mean, it's like, it could be a contract or whatever you say, you know, whatever. And, like, there's a lot of people that are like, well, that sounds kind of scammy. And it's like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that use that as a scam. But the people that understand what it actually is, the people that, they're just going to use it for what it actually is, right? Like, musicians are going to use it as physical representations, or somewhat physical but non-physical representations of their music, of collectibles that they could drop with their products, and things they can drop. Because right now, all artists can drop is merch. Like, you can drop merch and, like, album sales, because people don't buy CDs, or people don't buy albums anymore. People don't buy cassette tapes anymore. The musician themselves are making less money. But with all these new avenues to be able to pull in income as an artist, and from just doing you, right, from just being yourself, and because this is not just music. I only talk about the music side because I sell my beats as NFTs, right? I'm working on NFT projects. I have an Afro Kid NFT collection that's dropping with my album Afro Kid. And like, it's gonna be the first album I've ever done that with, because Psychedelics and Computers doesn't have an NFT collection attached to it. But besides selling beats as individual NFTs, right, because somebody has bought an NFT from me, and when they bought the NFT, it came with one of my beats. One of my beats was attached to that NFT. So therefore now they own the beat. And it's this thing where I've kind of just been paying attention to the whole thing, because I've been into the music. I've been doing this shit since I was 11. I was well aware of FL Studios when I was 12 years old. When I was 12 years old, I knew that FL Studios was the future of music. I knew that music was about to evolve into this digital, computered version of it. That synths and like all these, I knew this shit because it was in my life as a kid. So like, now it's just like, I've kind of decided to take it so seriously because it's all I had. Like, it's all I have. Like, I mean, I have my daughter, like, but, like, I don't have anything else. Like, all I have is the fact that I am so good at what I do. And I don't know music theory, I don't know how to play the piano, I don't know whatever, but I know how to do what I do very well. And, like, I'm working on all these different projects, all these different albums. I have, just Mark Dreams as an artist is, like, I'm a musician, but I'm also a philosopher. That's why I'm working on books as well. All of this shit that I'm doing, it takes up a lot of my time because it's all I do. It is my time. But in my head, I'm like, well, I gotta get the music done first because, like, that's just my own selfish ego thing. It's like, no, that's coming first, bro, for your own mental health. Because making music genuinely helps me with my mental health. It's how I came up with my album idea for The Lonely Psychonaut. The only reason why I made my album The Lonely Psychonaut, when the album drops, y'all are going to hear the songs, you're going to be like, wow. Because you're going to hear, like, these things got me through life, through the breakup. If it wasn't for me making these songs, I might not be here with you guys making this video. Like, it's no joke. That music saved my life. It has been my life since I was a kid, and, like, it's always been there for me. It's the thing that's always there. Like, I have no siblings, it's just me, and, like, I'm fine with that because I have music. I have the ability to express myself through the music and get lost into entire worlds. Like, I try to explain that I don't make songs. I make entire worlds. Like, my songs are entire sound worlds. Like, rooms that are made of sound. That, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they're not just songs, right? So, like, for me, I'm able to make this thing that I get lost into, and it's like this beautiful thing, and I'm able to use the frequencies that I want to use to give me the feeling that I want to feel, to put me in the state of mind that I want to be in. Music is the first mind-altering drug, right? It is a mind-altering substance, and if you know how to utilize and use it and manipulate it and produce and engineer and do all these things, you can do some amazing things. Because my music is a mixture between, it's almost borderline iDosing, right? Like, I don't know if you guys know what iDosing is, but iDosing is basically like where kind of binaural beats kind of got popular or whatever, because iDosing is like trying to induce drug experiences through sound and frequencies. And that's kind of what I do with my music, and that's why I said it's kind of like it, because that's not necessarily my intention, as well as it's just to express myself, what I've gone through, my experiences, my trips, my feelings, who I am as a soul, right? Like, my music describes me more as who I am than any words I can say to you. Like, listening to my songs would get you to know me better than any English words I can say to you. Because English is just words that I am speaking, but it's not me, because I am speaking the words. But the music is so much closer to me that it's so hard to explain, that it's just what I do, right? So that's why it's like I'm in this constant thing of expression of like, first I was working on psychedelics and computers, then I'm working on these NFT collections in the middle of this, Marquette's NFT as well, and all this other shit. And then I'm also working on the beats I need to sell so I can make some money. And then I'm working on the beats I need for Afro Kid. Then I'm working on the songs for The Lonely Psychonaut, which The Lonely Psychonaut came into existence, like I said, because when I went through the breakup, I just made music to help myself not sit there and cry all day. I just made music to help myself get through the day and looked at it as just one more day. Like, life was over for me at that point, bro. So, like, the way I looked at it was like, I just need to get through the day. If I can get through today, then that's fine. Because there was no guarantee that I would make it to tomorrow. Because I was like, what the fuck is the point? Like, I was almost lost. But then music brought me back and helped me find myself again. And I got to put all of my anger, sadness, frustration, loneliness, everything into everything I am doing now. Into all of my music, into my albums, into the ideas, into the NFTs, into turning my life into my job, into all this shit that I'm doing, right? And it's all because I had nothing else. There was no other choice, right? I didn't have a choice. The choice was be me or let the sadness and pain in the world turn me into somebody that I am not. And I refused. So, here I am. Much love, everybody. I fucking love y'all.